Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Dahlgren, and welcome to Back to School Night. I teach AP Economics, which is microeconomics and macroeconomics. I also teach AP World History and Honors World History too. This year, I'm also part of a sponsor of the Business and Economics Club, which is just starting up. The AP Economics course is actually two separate courses. It's microeconomics in the fall and macroeconomics in the spring. In microeconomics, we look at how businesses make decisions, how individuals make decisions, and we look at the smaller scale scope of economics. Whereas in the spring, we look at macroeconomics, which is on a national level, looking at unemployment and GDP. The focus of the class is to prepare students for the AP exams coming up in May. But really, it's also to prepare students to understand the economic world in which we live. And I really consider this one of the most practical courses that a high school student can take. The exam itself, or exams themselves, are two separate exams. Each one is 2 hours and 10 minutes. They take place on two separate days, but the format is really the same. There's one part that is multiple choice. It's 60 questions for 1 hour, 10 minutes. And then there's a part two, which is a free response question, which is actually three separate questions, two short questions and one longer question. And they have 1 hour to complete the second part. And they take place, I think this year it's May 10th and May 12th. Our class sessions are every day or every Wednesday and Friday. Seventh period from 1:35 to 2:55, so in the afternoon. The sessions take place through Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, and I have office hours that are Wednesdays from 3 to 4. The office hours are slightly different in that they take place through Google Meet, and students just have to join that classroom in Google Classroom in order to access Google Meet, and the access code is below. Much of our work done during the week is synchronous. That means it's done during class sessions. Expectations are the same really throughout West Potomac for students in the virtual environment. For us, typical activities include discussions of economic principles, discussions of current economic events going on and how that relates to the principles we've just studied. We do a lot of problem solving in the class, and we do a lot of graphing economic situations. Asynchronous work is what takes place on Mondays. That would be homework, basically. It's for an AP class, it's about 75 minutes. That's the expectation. And it's really, for us, cementing the practical concepts that we learned in class. So there's a lot of online practice and review games that I assign. I also assign quarterly podcast summaries. So they have to listen to an economic podcast and write a summary of that podcast and how what we have learned in class relates to what is said in the podcast. They'll also complete EPF modules. Those are Econ Personal Finance modules, which is an online simulation of living in a normal life, meaning writing checks, establishing a bank account, looking at saving for retirement. And all this is done through an online simulation. Students will have access and submit this work through Google Classroom mostly, although some work, quizzes, and review videos will also be on the AP College Board website. Assessment and grading this year will be done through a rolling grade book, which is the standard now at West Potomac, which means that there is not a cutoff for each quarter. So when the first quarter ends, the assignments continue to build on that first quarter. Now for our class, because there are two separate semesters, our grade book does end in January, so there are 2 quarters in each of the rolling grade books. I do use a 4-point grading scale, which means that students achieve mastery of a topic, meaning that they've met all the expectations. On a 4, 3, 2, 1 scale, a mastery would be 3 if you're meeting the expectations. A 4 would be if you're exceeding the expectations and you go above and beyond and really demonstrate exceptional knowledge of that skill. Retakes are are possible for any of the major assessments. And for us, that really means the FRQs, the free response questions, which are for units and for topics. And so when they take FRQs, they can remediate, show that they've looked through additional resources to understand the material, and will be given an opportunity to retake the FRQs. If a student is absent, the best place to look for information is the daily agenda. I keep a log every day of what we do in class. It helps me to stay organized, and it gives students an opportunity or a place to find all the material they need. The daily agenda is on Classroom, and it's just titled Daily Agenda. And there they can find homework, supplemental material, of course, the day's activities, links to a lot of supplemental work, videos, etc. In order to contact me, there are two ways, well, two emails at least. The fcps.edu is the best email. There's a secondary one that students often use because it's linked to their accounts, but this gets a lot of class work notifications, and so it fills up very quickly. So I recommend using fcps.edu, the first one listed above. A little bit about me, if you're still following along in this, is that I was born on the West Coast, actually Arizona, but grew up in California. And that's where I got my degree in Monterey and international relations. But I was lucky enough to have traveled a bit. And so I studied for a year in Sweden, Uppsala University. Lived in Germany for 4 years, teaching English. Also lived in Switzerland for a couple of years, teaching at a trilingual school. And in between there, though, I worked in Yosemite National Park. That was my first job. And then transferred with the National Park Service to San Francisco, working there for 6 years. I have a little bicycle here showing my journey to West Potomac because I also used to spend a lot of time on my bike and hope to do that even more so in the future. Thank you for listening to me and my little presentation about AP Economics. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Thank you.